No Game, No Life, Volume 6, Chapter 4, Part 3. 1 divided by 2 equals helpless. Standing atop a landscape scavenged cataclysmically. To think the likes of a puppet such as yourself would vex me so. You have quite the nerve. Jubro complained through thick rage and her inability to destroy a mere ex machina, a single purifer. I can't die. Not yet. I still can't die. Shui moved beyond her limits, plasmifying her joints, which melted with white glow. In the storm of Jubro's attacks, which he could neither detect nor react to, he barely stood. She whipped out all the armaments of Ex Machina, everything she'd learned from Riku, writhing as if her life depended on it. Stay off your opponent's stage. Never let them take control. Get your opponent to drop their guard. Make them think you're theirs. Rattle your opponent's nerves. Shake them by taking risks. Don't read your opponent's moves. Lead them where you want them to go. Can't react to her attacks? Anticipate them. Can't anticipate them? Dictate them. So, at a hair's breadth, Shui dodged, parried, and cancelled. Jubro shook beyond amazement onto anger. The ex machinas in the cluster had strayed from the tracks of understanding and just chanted, error. But all the pulp Shui saw was the number displayed in her vision. 72 seconds. Hey, Riku, why is it? When she held Riku's hand, an entire hour felt like an instant. Unable to ward off one of Jubro's attacks, her right side flew away. 51 seconds. Riku! Now, a second feels like eternity. The latest wave of light Jubro released was about to strike Shui's left hand. Loosen! Umweg! The detour Shui summoned with reaction speed even she could hardly believe diverted the wave from her right arm into her chest. At last you have fouled up properly. How you have troubled me. Hearing Jubro's crow, Shui just asked absently. 24 seconds. Fouled up? What do you mean? It was true that, now immobilized, she'd entirely sacrificed her ability to dodge. But Shui smiled, shifting her gaze. On her left hand, his fourth finger, the faintly glowing ring she'd protected. Is that... So, I apologize for calling you Scrap. What Jubro felt just then, she had no way of knowing. But, thump, spirits throbbed as if that apology itself were an attack. High above the helplessly splayed Shui, her halo tracing a complex, giant pattern, Jubro spread her arms and declared, Madame, I hereby acknowledge you as a threat that must be eliminated, an enemy worthy of sure measures. Beyond comparison with the concentrated spirits used by the weapons of Ex Machina, spirits forcefully culled from the atmosphere, from the planet, were compressed, condensed, compacted, and, glowing, manifested themselves in Jubro's hands as a swaying, amorphous lance. A heavenly smite. There was no mistaking it. The flugel transubstantiated the entire structure of her body into pure spirit corridor junction nerves, scooping up power from the source of the spirit corridors for one shot. The flugel's literal, most powerful smite. Ex Machina had a weapon that emulated the heavenly smite, and this was not Shui's first time witnessing one. But Jubro's, her whirling power, compared to the heavenly smite, as recorded in the data in Shui's memory, differed by too many orders of magnitude. Shui's expression fell, remorseful, sad. The irregular number, Jabril, was indeed beyond. Synchronization complete. The network notified her despite the interference, possibly from the massive power whirling overhead. Oh, I didn't see it until now. Umlaut capital U C 207 capital P R 4 F 57 T 9 renamed prior Shui. The numbers displayed in her vision, changing to synchronization complete. Task reassigned to us. Access granted to rest. Sweet dreams. As the heavenly smite rained down, Shui looked in Jabril's face and grinned. This game's victory belongs to me. Ignoring Jabril's uneasy frown, Shui said her last words. Loosen. Kane Intrag! It was impossible to block that heavenly smite. Just as Jabril had promised, Shui would be rendered voiceless scrap. She had no means of overturning that. But if she focused the full output of no entry into a 12mm radius, she should be able to protect it. Just this gift from Riku. This ring. In absolute force, one the heart she'd received from Riku, labeled absurd and unreasonable, rained down. Its direct impact would, in decaseconds, erase her, body and mind, from this world. But why wasn't it? The heavenly smite unleashed by Jabril felt terribly slow. She detected an abnormal acceleration of her thoughts, perhaps what the humans called flashing lights. Shui wondered, how did I get this to happen? Her enhanced thoughts provided the answer immediately. There was nothing to it. It was simple. Riku, I knew it. I can't do anything without you. Still, she thought that she could install the Omwig stations herself, that there was no need to expose Riku to danger. It was her pride that had invited this outcome. Riku had been right all along. Riku would probably, definitely, have been able to pull the wool over even Jabril's eyes and avert this battle. She was sure. Why'd she let go of Riku's hand? After she decided to trust him without a second thought. He told her to stay with him forever. She shouldn't have left him for a second. I'm sorry, Riku. Even so, I leave you the last move. She knew Riku would never accept it, but she also knew he couldn't refuse. She knew how hard it would be for him. She also knew all too well he couldn't deny it. I'm sorry, sister. I never did manage to become that beautiful bride. Even so. Riku. Hey, Riku. She called the name of her husband, though he could never hear her. Her voice output apparatus had long since been destroyed. She didn't make a sound. There was no way he could hear her, but even so, she had to say it. I finally figured it out. Because she remembered there were words she never said to him. I'm really glad I met you. Because now she understood them clearly. Next time, I'll never leave you again. I really love you. The heavenly smite, which bored through the mountain, capping the sky with dust, ended. Having overexerted herself and now nearly exhausted spirits, Jabril, unable to maintain her usual form, had become a small child. Out of breath, she lit to the spot where her enemy had been, but no sign or trace of the ex machina remained. Ah, look. What part of this was worth it? The whole battle had started because she'd wanted the head of the ex machina operating as a solo unit. Given the machine's singular behavior, Jril's desire for the head had swelled until it became a heavenly smite. The flugel bemoaned the fact that even she had no idea what it had all been about. But her instincts had screamed that the machine was an enemy she had to destroy. Looking back at it objectively, though, was that really true? I failed to secure the head, blew away every bit of her, and on top of that, look at me. Considering her diminutive, cherubic appearance, Jabril heaved a deep sigh. She'd gained nothing, lost all her power, and wouldn't be able to move properly for at least 5 years. That was her prize. I suppose I shall at least report to Eldra Ezreal that there was a strange ex machina. I hope that even Mushhead will be able to grasp the significance of the creature making me employ my heavenly smite. But, considering her childish appearance again, Shrill muttered pensively, if I engage my elder in this state, I can hardly see her letting me go. Little Jabril unenthusiastically flapped her wings into the distant sky. Small. The glint of the silver ring was too small to attract her notice. The game was over. Shui had died. Receiving the ghost report, it was all Rika could do to put on a brave face and return to his room. At the table, across from an empty chair, he went through the motions of the game of chess he'd played so many times with Shui. Alone. Just as he had once upon a faraway time when he was a child. The game he could never win. Moving the pieces, he looked at the empty seat in front of him. His sanity suspect, he saw just what he'd seen back then. The boy with the bold grin. The presence Shui had promised to believe in without question. The god of games. Hey, why can't I ever win? The boy would never answer, but Riku still asked. I thought that this time I'd beat the odds. With Shui, with everyone. I thought I could win. Rule 2. No one may die. Rule 6. Any act which deviates from the above shall constitute loss. Why can't I ever win? Yes, the minute they broke the rules, the game was over, and they'd lost. What was worse was that it was Shui. What am I missing? Tell me, please. Come on, you're there, aren't you? The sight would have convinced anyone who might have been watching to think that he'd finally lost his marbles. Riku screaming at nothing, at the boy sitting across from him, the god of games. The boy didn't answer. By all appearances, he simply dropped his smile and lowered his face. Come on, all right? Can't I win just once? If not, then why? Why did you give me a heart? The heart Tweed admired and had opened for him. It now meant nothing to him as his body ached. All he could do was scream. I don't know what damn god created humans, but if we're going to live in this world just to lose and lose and lose some more and get the shit kicked out of us and lose everything and do it again, then why do we have hearts? Answer me! He screamed as if grappling with his crippled body. Come on! I know you're there! I don't know who you are, but answer me! I'm begging you! No answer. Not that he'd expected one to begin with. But he was spent. Dejected, raving indiscriminately. He leaned heavily on the back of his chair and gazed at the strategy map. Vaguely, he put the pieces together. He succeeded in pitting all the races against one another and laying the groundwork for the conflict of Camp Artosh versus everyone else. But it was as he'd anticipated all along. One side would definitely launch the first strike. If it was to be the Union, there'd be a deadlock until the Elven Alliance and the Dwarven Alliance could figure out how to neutralize the rivals' trump cards, Akasianse and the E-Bomb. Our assault would commence in 10 years at the latest, and Artosh's forces would probably lose. Then Dwarf and Elf would spring straight back at each other, until every damn body was dead. And if Artosh's side struck first, right now, the Artosh camp had the upper hand, because of the godly smite. But the Union wouldn't form their lines so as to be annihilated by a single smite. Then, once Artosh had used up his power and was temporarily weakened, he turned the power of Evenheim against him. That was the Union's goal. However powerful Evenheim might have been, Akasianse would kill any Phantasma, and the E-Bomb would kill any old Deus. There was no victory to be had for Artosh in a preemptive attack. It was what the Union had been led to believe. But that wasn't reality. Artosh's godly smite was of such a scale that it would trigger the collective firepower of every faction. So the result, both for Camp Artosh and the Union, would be mutual destruction. In the end, Artosh's forces were unlikely to win by attacking preemptively. At the outside, 10 years before the war went into sudden death. 10 years. Yes, 10 years. 179 ghosts had staked everything, thrown away everything but their lives, and he had lost Shui. To gain, at most, a deadlock of just 10 years. That was when Riku could have sworn he'd heard a voice. 10 years of peace. Isn't that enough? Isn't that pretty good? Mere humans managing to arrest the war of gods for 10 years? That's plenty. It's more than enough. It's an amazing feat. Don't you think that's worthy of being called Vic? Are you messing with me? Was this someone's voice or the excuses of his heart? Riku didn't care. He howled as if intent on ripping open his throat. Humans waged everything. I lost Shui. Just 10 years of some temporary sham peace is worthy of being called victory? And what then? We'll be back to the world of cowering in fear of death. Are you dreaming, asshole? That's not even a goddamn draw. What makes you think the scales are anywhere close to even? Silence was the sole reply, and the boy Rick had seen up until a moment ago was gone. I'm really beyond hope now. That being the case, there was no more need to act tough, so he chuckled and acknowledged it. Yeah, it's true. I hurt all over. Contaminated by dead spirits, my skin's in constant agony. I can't even remember the last time I got a good night's sleep. Just drinking water makes my throat burn. My vision's so cloudy, it makes me worry that if I let my guard down, I'll totally go blind. Yeah, it's true. I admit it. I've lost. Again. This life in which I've never won even once. I'm sick of it. I thought that if I had Shui, I'd be able to endure this world. If I could talk to Shui, see her face, hold her hand, I could even forget this misery. Riku recalled Shui's words. You shall not die. You shall live until I die. Yeah, come to think of it, now that Shui had died, couldn't he just fall back into this chair, let go, and drift away, as if to sleep? Yeah. Spieler, Riku. Just as consciousness was fading, seemingly about to carry his soul down with it, the voice called him back. With the nostalgic, somehow mechanical sound he'd never heard before, he turned slowly. Whoever had gotten in, however long it had waited, there stood a cloaked figure in shadows. Who are you? He didn't ask, what are you? He didn't have to. The thing visible through the opening in the robe spoke for itself. It was the body of a machine, not Shui, but an ex machina. I have no name, but you can call me as I am called, Einzig. Riku cautiously attempted to inquire what it wanted. The will of Prior Shui is my mission. The ex machina man who'd cut him off, Einzig, extended his palm while saying this, taking what was offered. Riku stiffened in a daze. A small metal ring, dirty and deformed, but unmistakably Shui's. Spieler, Riku, you have not yet lost. I What? To the still reeling Riku, Einzig, the ex machina, calmly announced. The rules specified by the Spieler do not imply that tools may not be broken. Impulsively, Riku swung a fist to bash that face. This guy had some balls calling his wife, Shui, a tool. Ex machina or whatever. He didn't give a damn. This bastard was... As he clenched his fist in mid-swing, the texture of the token inside it froze him. Einzig had said his mission was the will of the prior. The ring he delivered to Riku spoke to that eloquently. Believe it. If he just believed. If I believe that, then Shui's failure doesn't constitute a loss. Is that what you mean? Don't mess with me. Riku turned his eyes down and fell silent, and Zig responded. Message. Check. Riku, please take care of the rest. End of message. Is that all? Yes. Smirking and raising his eyes, Riku glimpsed the boy sitting in the empty chair again. Nothing. The game isn't over yet. Goddamn, Shui. How can you do this to me? The words came out in a cackle, as if Riku had been holding something in, and he turned his gaze to the ceiling. You never really did understand the heart, Shui. How would you admire a piece of shit like me? Of all things, you're gonna make me do this. Was what Riku almost whined, but he just barely managed to swallow it. Instead, clutching the ring, he chanted the incantation he'd long since forgotten. If it was Shui's will, Shui's wish from the heart, if she determined this was the only way to turn around their predicament, as her husband, Riku's only choice was to have faith, even if it was painful enough to break him. Because Shui, in burdening him with this wish, must have hated herself even more. For her sake, he'd do it. Take what Shui had broken and, for the finale, just one last time, lock it up tight. I'm done with the chapter. This chapter has been pretty good. That weird crunk at the end is a sound effect, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna include that or not. You might hear it, you might not. It's like at the very end. I'm assuming it's him crushing the ring or something. Yeah, this chapter has taken me a little bit to do because I'm kind of in a weird break phase sort of thing right now, but I'm glad I'm reading this, and I'm definitely going to finish up this book, absolutely. It's so, like, part of this hit hard. I'm sure you can hear it in part 3, or I guess part C. But yeah, no, that hit me in the feels. It hit me really hard. And I tried to keep it through my reading as well because it deserves that. It really just went hard. Well, sorry for the rambling. I'm starting to upload some of these videos, quote-unquote videos, because they're going to be audio, to Odyssey as well. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. If you're coming from Odyssey, yeah, I have YouTube stuff, and there's some stuff that you can't find on Odyssey. It's more unlisted and old stuff. But that's about it. Yeah, well, thank you for listening to my rant. Thank you for listening to my book if you truly have. Listen to more if you want. Subscribe if you like it. Like if you like it too, why not? Tell your friends if you think they'd like it. Maybe not the first two, No Game, No Lives, or whatever, because they could be a bit better, let's be honest. Leaving you off here. And I suppose I'll see you guys next time. Bye.